Welcome to Hangin' at the Hangar Bar. I'm Scott.
I'm Candace.
I'm Lariah.
And I'm Lacey. Grab a drink and come hang with us at the Hangar Bar.
Welcome back to Hangin' at the Hangar Bar. We are glad you are here with us. Before we jump into the last episode of February, remember you can check us out on our Instagram at Hangin' at the Hangar Bar, which also is the same name as our Facebook, Hangin' at the Hangar Bar. Interact with us in both places. The other thing that we want to just mention right now, we are not a group of people that's very good about asking for money. But if you would like to support us, if you go to our Anchor site, and you can find that in the description link in whatever podcast platform you're listening on, you can support us financially if you would like. We're still trying to decide what the different levels of support would be. But if you're interested in that at all, don't feel obligated at all. We're not expecting it. We're doing this just for fun. We're not in this to make money. But if you'd like to support us and help us buy better equipment or help us get to Disney so we can continue to have some of those conversations about recent trips and that kind of thing, we'd love the support. And again, we'll figure out ways that we can shout you out or do something to make your hard-earned dollars worth it if you decide to support us. So again, thank you just for listening. That's the first part. Today, for this episode, we're just going to have a quick discussion about all things Disney. We have some exciting things planned for March, so stay tuned for our next episodes. But I'm going to lead off today with just a quick little question for the group to start the conversation. If you were elected Disney Parks president, what would you do differently than Josh D'Amaro is doing now? What would you change? What would you change back? Or what would you take away? Discuss.
I like it.
Somebody's got to go first.
I will start out by saying I would take away the Frozen Ever After ride in the Norway Pavilion. That would be the first thing.
Thank you.
To go and change it back to Maelstrom, even though I've never been on it, but I trust Candace's opinion.
So why would you do the re-theme of Frozen Ever After? Why would you change that?
You know, we've talked about IP and Epcot and how it's getting a little out of control, and we all agree that Epcot is going in the wrong direction when it comes to IP in that park. So I would want to rewrite it so that it's pretty traditional as it was.
Okay. Yeah, I like that idea of tying it back more to my big complaint about the Frozen Ever After ride has always been that it's only Norway-ish. Just because it's from a cold area that has mountains, and I'm using air quotes, that doesn't mean it's Norway. Yeah. And so it's Norway adjacent, but it's a fictional place. Epcot World Showcase is not about fictional places. So that I would agree with you for that reason alone. I don't mind the IP. I don't mind it being a Frozen ride because Frozen is popular. I just don't think it fits where they have it.
No, if we wouldn't just get rid of it, but I think we all think it belongs in Magic Kingdom if it were to stay.
Oh goodness. I just had what are they going to replace? If they were to move that to Magic Kingdom, what in the world would they replace?
The Astro Orbiter.
Okay, it really wouldn't fit up on top of the People Mover.
Maybe they can just make them Olafs. Not Olafs, the Svens.
Yeah.
Svens just spinning around.
You're riding
a
mountain.
Flying moves. Right.
Wait, is
reindeer?
Reindeer.
Yeah. Reindeers are better than people.
Thank you, Candace. Yeah.
You're welcome. Oh dear, that would be so out of place. That hurts my soul.
It would be no more out of place than it is in the Norway Pavilion at Epcot.
Oh, but it is because it was supposed to take place a long time ago, not in Tomorrowland.
Right, just like it's supposed to take place in somewhere that's not Norway.
Okay.
If they're gonna put it in a place that doesn't fit, they might as well put it in Tomorrowland.
All right, fair enough.
Frozen in the future.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, if they were to do something like that, though, instead of having Sven spinning around, they could have Elsa in the middle, and you could almost have it be like ice crystals. Like she's casting out ice crystals as you're spinning around.
That's a terrible idea.
Ooh, and then over in is it in Adventureland with the spinning camel?
Yes.
They could have the Snope. Just as it's spinning around, it could just be dropping like a little ring of snow all the way around the ride.
So you get frostbite.
Right.
Or Snope in your eye and you go blind, and then that's not a pleasant experience for anyone for a multitude of reasons.
Oh, too funny.
As Disney Parks president, I say no.
Okay, so what else would we change or do differently?
Well, I think sticking with along the same theme as Epcot specifically. Part of Epcot's charm for me is the kitschiness of it. Like that sort of 80s feel. And I think they need to bring some of that back.
You are preaching
Yes.
to the choir.
Mm-hmm.
That is why I love Epcot. I
Yeah.
love the 80s cheesiness. I love it.
And, you know, like that really awesome music that they had when you walked into it. They just recently changed all that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all good with change, but if it's not broken, don't fix it. And Epcot isn't broken.
No.
I think if I were president of the parks, Josh Damaro, if you're listening, we love you. We really do. Can't wait till you're CEO someday. Someday soon, please. But anyway, I think I would traditionalize things a little bit more.
Tell me more.
Put a little bit more of Disney history and the history of the company and Walt's vision back into some of this, where I think it's going down a dangerous path right now to turn into every other theme park that ever existed.
Tell me the things that you see them doing that make it like every other theme park.
Well, I guess just the whole removing some of the live entertainment, focusing more on guests getting on ride after ride after ride after ride, and not encouraging them to take time to appreciate the ambiance and the atmosphere. Because that's a lot of hard work. They don't have to do any of that, but they do. And they do a sensational job of it. They don't have to. But people don't notice it because they've either got their nose in their phone, screaming at their kids, or running around because they want to be the first in an hour-long line.
Yeah, I think for me, what you're talking about makes sense, and I don't know how they solved that problem.
Josh Damaro, if you're listening, hit us up.
Because if you get rid of, I would be on board with getting rid of like Genie Plus, and you just go and you experience the parks how they happen. You don't necessarily need your phone for anything other than reservations. And it's going to speed up all of your wait times and all of your rides. But you're going to have those people that want to move faster into the rides. There's the people that go to Disney just for the rides. And that's okay. That's the hard part, is Disney has to cater to all of those people. And it makes it difficult as somebody that I could go to a park and go on very few rides and be okay with it. Like my trip is not make or break based on the number of rides that I go on. I think there's some people that look at that $100 park admission and say, I have to get on 20 rides because that makes my cost per ride go down. And I don't know how they solve that. They're not going to change people's behavior. Or I don't know how they change people's behavior.
No. That's a good question. I think, and we've talked about this before with the instant gratification thing. Like, people are so hardwired to, I want it now, I want to be first, and I have to get this done because I have 12 other things that I want to do.
Right.
Like, just slow down.
Yeah. My answer to the question is, I think that if I were in charge, Disney would maybe suffer a little bit, because my thing is, I feel like we kind of need to go backwards and simplify things a little bit, because it's just too much. And I understand that they're competing with Universal. I understand that's a thing, because Harry Potter is pretty big, it's a pretty big competitor with Disney, people don't go, I mean, I'm sure there are some people, but I'm sure the main reason to go to Universal is to go for Hogwarts and Diagon Alley and all of that. I'm a Harry Potter fan. I love the books and the movies. We don't need to discuss the author because I think she's garbage. But
Cheers.
but I did grow up with it and I love it just the same as I do love Disney. However, the thing that sets Disney apart from Universal, and if I go to Florida, there's no way in hell I could go to Universal without going to Disney, because my thing is the music. When we go, the shows that we see, when we went on the cruise, the shows that we saw there and the shows that we saw at Disney, like the Finding Nemo show, did it have a specific name?
Finding Nemo.
Finding Nemo? Mm-hmm. Okay. I remember those moments so much. And like just with Candace and Scott getting to dance with the, did they have a name?
Harambe dancers.
Yeah. That kind of stuff is like an experience within an experience. Like, yeah, you're experiencing Disney World, but then you're actually like a part of it because you got to interact with the people there. Mm-hmm. And I just think that if it were me, I'd want to take a step back from like I know that our world is moving so fast where like everyone just wants the newest thing and everything. Like trends are insane nowadays where it's like something can be trendy for a month and then the next month it's completely something new. And it's insane and it's exhausting. So, when people go to Disney World, it's our society now that like, you want to do everything that you're seeing. And so Disney is trying to keep up with that. But I just think someone has to make that stop. And I think if Disney stops it and like decides for a year that they're not going to do any more rides or anything and just leave it how it is for a year, I really want to know how it would, like with crowds, I really would like to see how much of a change it would be. Because I doubt it would go, I doubt there would be a huge difference. But that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think what you said there, simplifying, is the name of the game for me. And I think as I think through that problem, long term for Disney, I almost feel like it's another gate. Like you need a Disney Texas. You need and Candace is crinkling her eyes just because of where I said to put it, but it could be like Disney Arizona would be too close to Disneyland. Mm-hmm. But you put it Disney Austin and start pulling some of the crowds away from Orlando, I think that's the only way you solve some of those problems. Because to me, they can one of the solutions is lowering ticket prices so people don't feel like they have to get as much out of it. But Magic Kingdom already gets double the attendance of any other theme park in the world. They can't lower prices because more people would come. The alternate side of that is they raise prices to a spot where those people that are tied to their phones and are just trying to find max value can't make it in the door from a price point perspective. But then is that really Disney at that point?
No, it's not. It's not Walt's vision of families being able to go and have a good time together.
Right. And it's got to be for all as well, I think. But that doesn't mean it has to be free. It doesn't mean it's not expensive. Going in the 50s when Disneyland opened, it was expensive to go.
For then.
Right. Yeah. Looking back.
Yeah.
I'd love to pay 1950s Disneyland prices today.
Right.
But again, you'd end up with 400,000 people in the park and a 6-hour wait for everything.
And the park would be trash.
Right. So do they get another location in a population center and do another 3 parks somewhere else? It makes it closer for more people. So those people that can't make it to Orlando because cost is a concern, it would be drivable for the majority. A Disney park would be drivable for almost everybody in the country
Mm-hmm.
at that point.
They are now, just depending on how much time you want to drive.
Right. Most people are not like us and say that 24-hour road trip is drivable.
That was so much fun, though.
Yeah.
It was. So I think like that is such a difficult problem to solve, of trying to get people to be less reliant on maximizing their value.
Mm-hmm. I have another suggestion along the same line. And this is coming from a very Disney adult sort of side of the coin, where Walt's original vision was that families could go in and enjoy the parks together. There's something for everyone, all age groups, whatever. I also think there's a lot of value that I personally would find in the parks if they did people up to the age, or all ages would be admitted into the park until like 4:00, or even until fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
And then from fireworks until midnight, 1:00, 2:00, whenever, over the age of 21 only.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know why they haven't done that yet.
Because I tell you right now, I know when I would go to the parks.
Oh yeah, I would not go during the days at all.
No.
We talked in one of our episodes last season, hint, go back and listen if you haven't. We talked in one of our things that if my ideal Disney trip would be all after hours events,
Mm-hmm.
not themed after hours events. So not like the Boo Bash or Mickey's Merry Christmas or whatever. My ideal trip would be I get 6 hours in the park where I paid an extra ticket price for that, and it's a limited number of tickets sold for it.
Mm-hmm.
But even opening it up, like I love that idea of saying, hey, and even if it's just a couple times a week, that hey, Magic Kingdom after 8:00 is only open to those 21 and up, and we're going to turn Main Street into like, bar district isn't the right word, but like a cool little hipster hangout kind of thing, where you can sit outside of Tony's Town Square and have a glass of wine.
Mm-hmm.
Those kind of things would be just awesome, and I think it would. It would probably increase their park capacity, because people like you and I, or probably the four of us, would not go in the heat of the day. We'd stay back at the resort, go to pools, hang out at the pools, and say, okay, it's time for fireworks. It's 5:30. Let's get ready to go to the parks, and we're going to stay there till midnight or whenever. And that's our time in the park. We're going to go on the rides we want to go on. We're going to just putz around and have a good time. I love that idea.
And that brings in more revenue for the resorts,
Mm-hmm.
because you resort hop for places for different lunches since you're not in the parks.
Mm-hmm.
Pool bars gain more revenue for that,
Yeah.
because if you're hanging out at the pool, you're probably going to go to the snack bar
Mm-hmm.
or the bar and have a cocktail while you're hanging out at the pool.
You're going to eliminate that need right now. Some of the videos we've watched have said that mobile ordering, you have to think about what you want for lunch at 8:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you don't get a mobile order spot around lunchtime.
Right. Whereas if you don't have all those people in the parks, like all of us people would not be in the parks, we'd be getting our lunch from somewhere else, either a resort or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I see nothing wrong with that idea.
I like that idea. Josh, tomorrow.
I need to work for you.
Well,
It's going to have to be a remote position for now, though.
well, especially with Epcot, I'm very surprised that they wouldn't close off at least World Showcase during a certain time of the evening and leave it for like 21 and older. I'm really shocked that they haven't done that. And we're the three of us, Candace, Scott, and myself, Lacey, have gone on cruises where they have adults only side of the boat.
Ship.
Oh my gosh. Don't tell anyone I said that. Please don't tell anyone I said that. Margaret would be so mad.
She would be.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't even know if that was her name, but
We'll call her Margaret.
her name is Margaret now. But I'm just so surprised that they haven't done that at Epcot, where they just have like at least like once a week, just have like a night where just adults only, and they get like bands that come in, and they have like specials, like drink specials in each country. Like that, I would love to do that.
And from a vacation planning perspective, I know a lot of people primarily Disney adults,
Yeah.
that would plan their trips around those different times, saying, okay, tonight we're going to go to Epcot
Mm-hmm.
and just have a chill day. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I would totally do that. Heck yes, I would do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. I just had a little bit of a squirrel moment in my brain.
I'm sorry.
And if you're local to Orlando and you're listening to our podcast, please don't take this for anything more than I mean it to be, because we are not local and there's a hint of jealousy behind my next comment.
Well, we can move.
But how do you deal with the problem of locals kind of thinking they own the park? Does that question make sense?
Tell me more.
So a lot of the forums that I read and the Twitter accounts that I follow and all those kind of things of local people that are the Disney fans, the vloggers, the influencers, that
That's
kind
loud.
of thing, that you see a lot all over social media, that are down there to try and get the media passes, are trying to get free stuff from Disney, are mad because they have to reserve into the park, so are mad because the price of their annual pass went up to $1,000 versus the $800 it was last year, and now I can't afford to go. They're pricing me out. When I'm looking at, for a party of 4 to go for a week, I'm looking at $2,000. How do you deal, not a day.
No, just keep going.
You shouldn't give me faces like
I'm
that.
sorry, this has no filter. My mouth is fine. This needs deliverance.
But how do you deal with kind of the differing... Okay, here's a better question. So everybody listening, please forget how I asked the question before because it was rude. How do you deal with the different needs of different parties from different locations around the globe?
Okay, well, here's my thought about this. And this is probably going to offend someone. And I do apologize because I don't mean to be offensive. However,
I'm going to be offensive.
I'm going to be offensive here. Since you brought it up, we're going to talk about Florida residents. They automatically get a discount on their tickets and their annual passes because they are Florida residents. Granted, those come with blackout dates. Wow. You have the opportunity to be there pretty much whenever you want. Let some of us that don't get in and enjoy what you enjoy all the time. Secondly, about the vloggers, if they wouldn't do such a darn fantastic job with their videos, and I'm not speaking specifically to the ones that take one bite of food and then throw a whole plate away because that's wasteful and terrible and you should be ashamed of yourselves. You make people want to come to Disney World. I know that's not where you specifically get your revenue from, but it's your own doing. You're making your bed, you need to lie in it. Mic drop.
Yeah, and for those of you that couldn't feel the searing of Candace's eyes, she was looking straight into her microphone like she was talking directly to you. Just so you know, I was a little frightened there for a moment.
The map has spoken.
But it all boils, I think what we're saying is it all boils down to the people. Everything that we're talking about from a park experience perspective, all of that boils down to there's only so much that the corporation can do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not always going to stick up for a corporation that's raising prices or whatever. That's not who I am. But there's only so much they can do when the people going have made up their mind that they're not going to have a good time, or they've made up their mind that they're owed the world because they paid X amount of dollars.
I mean, we have people in Florida that we know and love and are good friends to us, and they have annual passes and go quite frequently. And they're very good people. I mean, they're what, in my opinion, a Disney fan should be. They're welcoming, they're polite, they get it. And you have this other handful that's just, never mind.
Yeah, and I think that's such a good point, Candace, when you said, I'm going to just riff off of the handful. It's such a small amount of people that ruin it for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're listening to this, trust that I'm not talking about you, unless I am talking about you. And then you'll know that I'm talking about you, right? Well, maybe you won't know that I'm talking about you because that's part of the problem is you're oblivious to everything else that's going on around you. And you think that the Disney Corporation exists solely to meet your needs in that moment. And that's not true. And I would say 99.999% of people that go to the Disney parks around the world, Orlando, Anaheim, wherever, are people that are good, solid Disney fans. It's that 0.001% that's pushing people out of the way to get a popcorn bucket. That just kind of ruin the experience for everybody around them. That's the moment of zen with Scott.
We need to record that.
We can pull it out of this recording.
Okay.
Love it.
But a moment of zen is you have to understand that the butterfly effect is real. So for those that don't know what the butterfly effect is, it's the theory that a butterfly flaps its wings and it creates a gust of wind somewhere else in the world.
It's a real big butterfly.
And that's actually the point. It's not. Like that motion, like a wave starts in the middle of the ocean and turns into a big wave that crashes against the. Like I drop a pebble into the ocean, in the middle of the ocean, that wave continues on until it stops. People are the same way. In a Disney park, if you're having a bad day and you're yelling at a cast member, that cast member potentially then turns their day into a bad day. And then they're going to ruin somebody else's day that came there with the right intention, the right everything. I'm here to have a great time. And then all of a sudden that cast member is not being as nice to them as what they would have been had the a-hole not asked for a cheeseburger at 9:30 in the morning.
At Animal Kingdom.
At Animal Kingdom at a kiosk that wasn't even open.
Right.
So if you are that person, just know that everything you do impacts somebody around you. You don't live in your own bubble. You are not the center of the universe, no matter where you are.
And if you are, let us know because we'll take your picture.
Right. Okay, that's moment of zen with Scott.
And thank you for that.
Yeah, I think, like, as being Disney president, no tolerance of that, of any sort, would be allowed in the park. Like,
so you would just kick out the people who
they're
are,
gone.
Goodbye.
If they're gonna have a moment
Wow.
like that, you can't do that. It's just a solid form of respect. Like, you gotta.
Well,
You
and
can't.
the whole comment that you were making, Scott, about the treatment of the cast members. I cannot praise cast members enough
Exactly.
for what they do every day, day in, day out, to bring somebody's translation of the magic that they want into their life for that day or that 5-minute period. Anybody that is rude to a cast member for any reason under the sun, we need to have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just not called for. Again, as we've said before, and this goes for everybody, not just cast members, but you don't know what somebody's going through. And yes, I realize that saying you don't know what somebody's going through, somebody may be going through something and it comes out as being snappy to a cast member. We all have our moments of brilliance and glory, and that's not necessarily one of them. However, calm down. Remember where you are. Remember how you were raised, because I guarantee you were raised better than to be rude. Calm down. Be nice. And be nice to the cast members above all, because they are wonderful, wonderful people. And if you take the time to talk to them, take the time to say thank you, take the time to say please, take the time to realize that they are people and they are doing a very difficult job to make your day and your vacation better.
Amen.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Preach it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and we all have had customer service experience. All of us have. I am a customer service representative. So is Candace. Scott used to be. We all know how it is to be spoken to in a certain way. And even though it's our job, I don't appreciate being talked down to, because my job is to help you. And if you're going to be rude to me, then me wanting to help you is not, like, it's my drive to help you is going down. I'm sorry. If you're being rude to someone for no reason, and it's because you're privileged and because you believe that you are higher than someone else because you, for whatever reason it is, it's not okay. And your experience, I think we've talked about this before, is how you make it. So if you go into anywhere with a bad attitude, and what does Tabitha Brown say? She says, I love her what she says at the end of every video. She says, have yourself a good day,
And if you can't, don't you dare ruin anybody else's.
Exactly. And I love that so much.
I love her. She's amazing.
And yeah, and because when we went on our last trip, Candace was not feeling it one day. She needed a day at the resort. And you know what? She could have gone and been grumpy and maybe ruined, it could have ruined her day and our day. And
I didn't want to ruin it for y'all because,
well, we know how you are and stuff like that. But I'm sure, we all get that way. I know when I'm in a bad mood, like,
oh yeah,
I prefer to just, you got to take care of yourself. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, don't go. I feel like we got off topic. Really.
No, that's what I wanted this conversation to do.
But yeah, just go into the park, and your experience is how you're gonna make it. So just yeah.
Yeah, and don't, you can expect perfection, but don't expect perfection. Your idea of perfection is going to be different from my definition of perfection, and we're going to be in the same park at the same time. Why is your idea of perfection so much better than mine? I go into it thinking, and that just rung into my head. Go in expecting to live in the moment. That's when the magic really happens. If you are saying, I have to get these 17 things done or it's going to be a crappy trip, you're going to have a crappy trip. If you go into it saying, here's some things that are on my must-do list, but other than that, I'm just going to go with the flow and have fun and notice the things around me, that's going to be such a more magical trip than if you go in saying, I have to plan this down to every minute of every day.
Because things happen.
Yeah.
I mean, rides go down for especially something as technical as like Rise of the Resistance. There are so many technical parts of that ride that it goes down several times a day for technical issues, but it can't be helped because it can't just run nonstop and not have issues. But you can't plan when that's going to happen. You just can't.
no.
So why get all in a hubbub and let that completely destroy your day and the day of 5 people around you when you're throwing a fit, plus a poor cast member who you just took it out on. And then that just ripples and ripples and ripples.
Well, that's why I had mentioned there's no tolerance for yelling and throwing a fit at any point. I get if you're having a bad day, but for someone who's not getting a cheeseburger at 9:30 in the morning, imagine what they would do on a ride that broke down. Honestly, somebody could get hurt for how bad people scream, throw a tantrum, get so upset.
Well, and when you're overhearing that and you're over there having a great time and then you see someone, causing, throwing an adult tantrum towards someone else, yeah, we would probably laugh at the person throwing the tantrum because how embarrassing is that? But then it would also, I know for me, it would affect my day. And Candace, because we're both empaths. But it would affect us because then that whole day I would just be thinking about how bad I felt for that cast member. But I also wanted to domino off of what you said, Scott. When you said go into the park with no expectations, I think about our Animal Kingdom day so much and how little we did that day, but how much we did at the same time, and how little of our day was planned. We went on how many rides? What, four rides? You guys 3 and Lorraine and I 4. We went on that little amount of rides, And we saw 2 shows,
Mm-hmm.
and we ate at 2 different restaurants, got coffee, and met characters. It was such a great day because we planned very little.
Yep.
It was good.
Okay, this was great conversation. I'm going to wrap us up here. Any final thoughts before we say our goodbyes?
Seriously, Josh, we need to talk. Hit us up.
Okay, I think let's end before we say our goodbyes. What was that Tabitha Brown statement again? I think that's a good one to kind of leave the main part of the podcast with. If
Y'all have yourself a great day, but if you can't, don't you dare go out and ruin anybody else's.
and remember, there's a great big beautiful tomorrow.
See you real soon.